Go ahead. Okay, great. Welcome everybody to our regular school board meeting, January 21st. And could you do a roll call for me, please?
Karen Anderson present, Tammy Hines here, John Long
Here.
Greg Meyer
Here.
Scott Middlecamp
Here.
Greg O'Connor
Here.
Lisa Schumacher.
Great, we have a quorum. We're going to go ahead and move ahead. Item 2 on the agenda is public comments. And Courtney, would you?
We have Mr. Tim Gagan, who is joining us via Google Meet here, and he would like to address you, and then I have one other person to do a call. So, Mr. Gagan, if, for the record, you need to state your full name, and then you have 3 minutes to address the board, so whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Tim Gagan, CHS, obviously, Social Studies, American History teacher. Thanks again. Right now in my history class, I'm teaching the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s. I'm not equating that movement with what I'm doing tonight, but I can look my students in the eye and discuss civil rights, knowing that I didn't reach out to you tonight. This is not something I'm comfortable with, but I feel compelled. So here I am, and I thank each of you for listening. I am speaking as a former president of the Columbia Education Association and a teacher at CHS for the past 25 years. My views tonight are my own, and I speak for no one. I'm not representing CA at this time, although I will tell you, I think I can speak for 72% of the high school teachers. I appreciate all the work each of you have done in the last 9 months. I know it has not been easy. We must find some common ground. I know of no teacher who does not want things to return to normal as soon as possible. No one likes the current situation. And while we all want what is best for our students, we must recognize that our district consists of 4 very different schools, all with different needs. What works at Parkview, CHS, and the others may not work at the other schools. We must also recognize that we may have very different views on what is best for students and staff, and we may even disagree on the severity of the pandemic. It is my hope that the board is taking into consideration science and not making emotionally based decisions. If we cannot trust science, what can we trust? My room at Columbia High School is 23 by 21 feet. This is the student's desk area. I'm not counting the front of the room where I tend to teach from behind my self-purchased shower curtain. Yeah, a shower curtain in a classroom. Who would have thought? If we bring back both groups of students, my in-class numbers will go from a low of 10 students to a high of 23. This is based on current hybrid numbers. My numbers could increase dramatically since most of my classes actually have 25 plus students rostered. If numbers remain consistent with our hybrid schedule and we bring both groups back, the number of students in person will average around 15 to 17. There is no way to configure my room to social distance if the number is over 12. If one student gets COVID in my class, it will mean at least 3 other students must quarantine, and it could be as many as 8. I believe my numbers are fairly typical at CHS. Frankly, the social distancing that is taking place right now in the boardroom will not be possible in most classes at CHS. Think about what I just said. Each of you right now can social distance, yet teachers and students cannot. The optics of this are not lost on CHS teachers. Based on a survey of CHS teachers on January 13th, 72% of high school teachers want the current hybrid policy to continue. I would be happy to email you the results and the comments made from both sides. 28% are basically for a return to normal. Since when do we cater to 28%? What kind of message does this send? I ask, have you surveyed all the parents of the district? Not just the ones you see socially or the ones who call you or you run into at the store. Right now, 71 out of 149 of my students and their families opt for remote. I'm not sure a majority of parents agree with bringing all students back. But admittedly, neither you nor I know, because there has not been a survey. In a recent board meeting, November, I believe,
Tim?
a board member said, paraphrasing, high school students are not quarantining. They hang out in groups of up to 20 every night at the Legion.
Tim, we need
Again, I'm paraphrasing.
Tim, we need to wrap this up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. You have another,
Yes, I'm gonna call some of that.
okay, great, thank you.
Loud in the background. Hello. Ms. Clayton? Yes. This is Dr. Caselli at the board meeting. I have you down as wanting to address the board this evening? Yes, please. Okay, I'm going to give it to you. And we have, you have to state your name for the record, please, and then if you would limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Carrie Clayton. I am a parent, community member, and I've had the honor of teaching at CHS since 2012. I am speaking today on behalf of myself and many of my fellow teachers who did not feel comfortable speaking to you this evening. The first thing I would like to say is that the teachers at CHS care so deeply about our students and their education. We love our students and have spent the year mourning all of their losses with them. Indeed, they are our losses as well. We would like to have graduation, watch our athletes compete in spring sports, enjoy a live band and choir concert, see a theater production. But bringing everyone back at the same time puts all of us in jeopardy, which is why I am here this evening fighting for what is right and safe for CHS. I have one of the largest rooms in the building, and currently in our hybrid plan, I am able to safely seat all of my students 6 feet apart. However, if my classes were full, there is no way I can safely space my students, and therefore the risk of COVID-19 exposure to my students and myself will increase. People may argue that we haven't seen a spread in our schools. I believe this is due to the fact that at the high school, we have been able to do our best with social distancing our students and keeping numbers of individuals low. Think about this. The room you are currently sitting in and socially distanced is 4 times the size of many classrooms at CHS. Why is it not okay to have the meeting open to the public attendance, but people keep on insisting on adding more young adults into our building? We are not okay. We feel as though our professionalism and expertise as educators is not being taken into consideration while the board plans for the future of our careers and the education of our young adults in this community. Despite such disregard, we do everything we can to make sure our students are okay, even when we are not okay. We are exhausted. Our teachers at CHS have been working harder than ever to produce high-quality virtual and in-person learning with the limited technology resources available. Our students are not receiving a lower education. If anything, they're recipients of some impressive virtual adaptations of traditional teaching methods. And we do everything we can to make sure our students are learning, even when we are exhausted. We are frustrated that science and safety is not being considered when discussing the future. A recent survey of CHS teachers shows that 72.5% of teachers do not feel it is safe to increase the number of students in the building at this time. COVID-19 numbers are increasing, new strains are spreading, and we still do not know when vaccinations will be available to our teachers. And we will continue to do everything in our power to keep our kids safe, even when we are frustrated. I ask that you vote tonight to keep our high school plan as it is now, hybrid with half days, and add Friday mornings as synchronous remote learning. This will increase face-to-face instruction time from 16.6 hours to 20.8 hours a week, while also ensuring time for teachers to plan student-centered lessons that are virtually compatible and reach out to our fully remote learning students. Decisions should be made based on the safety for all, not the wants of some. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Do we have anybody else?
That's it.
Okay, great. On to item 3, correspondence. Can you send something around?
There's a note card going around, that's
Okay,
it.
great. On to items 4 and 5, the consent agenda. Do you want to address that for us? Mr. Graham?
Sure. I want to bring up some things. We do have a resignation of an Eagle View healthcare provider, and we've got the employment, I don't know if it got added to the most recent agenda, of Kelly Christian, who's going to be the Eagle View healthcare provider now. This just in, we got an email this evening. Marla Bloomkamp, who is the nurse at the middle school, she has resigned, and so we're going to be having to fill that position as well. I also have 2 network technicians, as we've gone to one with the computers. We are replacing Ron with 2 technicians, and they will be plenty busy. We also have the 2 third grade and second grade remote instructions, so we currently have all of our remote instructions in. Those are pretty much the highlights of what we have. The vacancies, sign language interpreter, special education teacher, and the music teacher are based on retirements and departures. And there's one more thing. Tammy Hines has been subbing for us. She does have a check in the consent agenda, and so she'll be voting abstention, I believe. We could pull her check out. Basically, the board members are allowed to receive compensation for work done. They cannot make more than $2,000 in a fiscal year, and no paycheck can be over $1,000. And currently, I believe you've worked 6 days?
Correct, and I think you're gonna look into after the.
Volunteering, yeah.
If I can volunteer after that.
Yeah, but right now, an abstention from Tammy's not anything other than she's got a check in there for herself, because she's been subbing.
What if you wanted a board member? Could you work the ones that you want?
Yes.
Okay, any other questions on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Make that motion.
Motion by Greg Meyer and a second by?
Second.
A second by Greg O'Connor. Would you do a roll call vote for me, please?
Karen Anderson, yes. Tammy Hines?
Abstain.
John Long?
Yes.
Greg Meyer?
Yes.
Scott Middlecamp?
Yes.
Greg O'Connor?
Aye.
Lisa Schumacher?
Yes.
Motion carries. On to item 6, communications, reports and presentations. The enrollment that was in your packet had a little mistake in it. We have revised enrollment in front of you. On to the principal's report. We got Mr. Reeves.
Hello, good evening. First thing I want to talk about was to get graduation date approved tonight. Thinking about what will be like in May. I envision us probably having to try to do it outside again. And so a little bit of a different proposal would be Saturday, May 15th at 1 p.m. I know we normally do Sundays. And the thinking is, in case we have a rain out, we could do the backup day of Sunday at 1 p.m. And that way it would be out there and they would know the dates. I'm afraid if we do a Sunday and there's a rain out, and we have to push it back a week, keeping the chairs and everything that we had out there could be a problem. So I know we normally do Sundays, and I just think for this year, to try to play it safe, to move to the Saturday with the Sunday as the backup. So I'm proposing then that for you tonight to approve the May 15th. And then I would have the parents know also that the 16th would then be the planned backup. I've talked to some neighboring schools, and they're going to follow suit and do a Saturday, Sunday as well. Our times will not conflict, so that seems to work out. So that's something that I think is on the agenda to approve later. Mr. Gagan spoke to us earlier. He's up at the school because he had a Scholar Bowl match. So we do have something, a sport going on. We have an activity going on. We have Scholar Bowl, and it's really pretty incredible. The coach is at the school. The kids are at their house, individual houses. The other teams are at their houses, and the questions are read, and everyone's just answering in through buzzers they have through a phone app they have at their house to keep the matches going. And things are changing quickly through health department and IHSA, so different sports might be starting here, days, weeks as things have been loosened by the governor. Finally, what I have for you is registration. Students tomorrow will get registration packets shared with them to start thinking about their classes for next year, starting that process of choosing courses and getting the master schedule built. So keep it rolling on with our normal procedures and stuff. And that's all I have tonight. I didn't ask if there were questions about graduation. I meant to do that. Any thoughts or?
I'll just say on graduation, having it outside, that's something that former board member Ron Longhans talked about many, many times. Why don't we have it outside? Why don't we have it outside? So I can imagine he'll be watching over us.
Mr. Rick, did you speak about ninth grade, what you're doing for the freshmen? What you're planning to do for that?
I did. Normally we would have a freshman orientation night where they come over. We're going to offer it through a video and share it with the parents so they can get the same presentation. Yeah, the students might not be walking the building, but we'll do that over the summer if we're allowed to at that time. But we will still trying to do a different, more personalized touch. The counselors will still meet with the 8th graders. They're going to have individual Google Meet sessions with each counselor. We've worked it out with Ms. Langang at the middle school to help supervise those instead of them going over. They normally go over and meet with 8th graders individually to talk about classes for the high school. We'll be doing that through some Google Meets, but we'll also still have an evening event where we share the video with parents to try to still give them that same experience. Thank you.
I just knew that normally would be coming up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Dr. Castelli, Assistant Superintendent's report.
Yeah, I just want to take some time and just briefly kind of explain a new role that we have that you approved, the remote teachers that we have hired. So we've officially got our 3 teachers on board. Kim and the principals, Mr. Dugan and Ms. Becker, are working on onboarding them just like we would with our regular teachers. They have joined their teams. So they have been spending time observing the teachers in the classroom, observing how they're doing the remote lessons, and have also, some of them started to help create those to get used to the tools and to start rolling some things out. So we feel like when in February we move towards that they'll be fully ready to take on that curriculum. They will be meeting with those grade levels just like if they had a classroom of 28. So their planning and everything will take place on those half-day Fridays that we will hopefully still have moving forward. They will spend time collaborating as well. So the curriculum that the students have been getting and the students who are in person will remain consistent and the same. Mrs. Anderson, when I was speaking to her earlier, it's kind of like an example. You can equate it if we had somebody leaving on maternity leave and we knew that and we had a sub, we would be bringing them in, having them shadow, teaching them all the things, and then they would be taking over. The remote teachers will be taking grades. They will be scheduling Google Meets to meet with their kids. They will do both group and small, depending on how many kids are in there. And the schools are going to send out a Meet the Teacher presentation, much like we did at the beginning of the year when you have open houses just in general to meet the teachers. And that will be coming out on the 10th. And they're going to explain all the procedures. And they're going to talk about what it's going to look like. And just some information about themselves. So the kids who are fully remote should be getting to know those teachers and seeing them. So it won't be like a brand new, situation for them. And so we have scenarios laid out too for those kiddos that we've had to isolate for a classroom, what that's going to look like. And so we kind of outlined all those duties, but I'm very impressed with how our remote teachers have just come in and jumped right on board. Some of them have more experience with being a remote teacher than others, but all of them are very eager to start working with the kids.
Great.
And PE, art, all the specials will be given to the fully remote students as well. So they will be getting our full curriculum.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Courtney. On to Superintendent's report.
All right, FOIA, one of those things I always update you on. We did get a FOIA. It was the quarterly, I call it the quarterly Smart Procure FOIA. We do those for that company, and we responded in a timely fashion. The facility subcommittee, we haven't met for a while, but we will be meeting in February. The architects have our bid specs for our summer work coming ready to be presented, and we're going to review it before it goes out to hit the streets for construction workers to look at it. We've been busy meeting with this return to school committees, and we've got that on the agenda today about getting the kids back in every day. The goal is to have them back in all day, all kids by fourth quarter. We want to start next year as normal as possible. Speaking of next year, as Mr. Reeves has already pointed out, we're starting registrations. We're starting to look at the budgets. We're starting to discuss goals for next year. And so as we finish out this year, we are starting to set the stage as to what we're going to be doing for next year, staffing, et cetera. And so you'll see more information about that coming down the pipes, but that's pretty much all I have.
Great, thank you. On to item 7, items for action. Item A, approved date and time for graduation. Mr. Reeves talked about that for a few moments. Set up to hold graduation on May 15th at 1 p.m. Understanding that Sunday, May 16th at 1 p.m. would be the alternate. Is there any questions or comments from the board on those dates? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to hold graduation on May 15th at 1 p.m. And understanding that Sunday, May 16th at 1 p.m. would be the alternate.
So move.
Motion by Karen Anderson and a second by John Long. Could you do a roll call for me, please?
Tammy Hines?
Yes.
John Long?
Yes.
Greg Meyer?
Yes.
Scott Middlecamp?
Yes.
Greg O'Connor?
Aye.
Lisa Schumacher?
Yes.
Karen Anderson? Yes.
Okay, motion carries. On to item B. Approve the second reading and adoption of board policies, issue 106. The board policies are there. Are there any questions from the board members for the second reading of these board policies? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the second reading of the board policies, issues 106, as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Tammy Hines, second by?
I'll second.
Second by Lisa Schumacher. You do a vote for me, please. Roll call.
John Long?
Yes.
Greg Meyer?
Yes.
Scott Middlecamp?
Yes.
Greg O'Connor?
Aye.
Lisa Schumacher?
Yes.
Karen Anderson? Yes. Tammy Hines?
Yes.
Great, motion carries. On to the return to school plan. Do you want to talk through that with us, Mr. Brody?
Certainly. We've, as I've said many times, we're at a fork in the road, and on one path, you could go in all day, K-12, but to do that, you'd be adding in a lunch, and you'd want to keep the classes as hybrid. The other way is to go all in with 6 to 12, and to do that, you'd be at a half a day. And so what we're proposing is that right now, K-5 is all in half a day, Monday through Friday, and we're going to be all in 8 to 3, with Friday being the 8 to 12:30 day. So everybody's, it's going to be Monday through Thursday, 8 to 3, Friday, 8 to 12:30 for the K-5. 6-12, we are currently hybrid half a day, and so what we're changing is to all in for half a day, 8 to 12:30, and that'd be Monday through Friday. As I said earlier, the goal is to move fourth quarter all in all day. We're going to need to get lunches. By that time, we should have all of our vaccines done. Vaccinations should be complete, and we'll have a better idea of how our contact tracing is going and how many people are coming back and whatnot. Ms. Hines and Mr. Myers were on the return to school committees, as was Mr. Reeves and Dr. Castelli. There's pros and cons both sides. None of the plans are making anybody thrilled. I've had people tell me we're moving too fast. I've had people tell me we're moving too slow. The recommendation right now is to go all in K-5, 8 to 3, with Friday being 8 to 12:30. 6-12 all in, 8 to 12:30.
And the proposed start date is when?
That would be the day after President's Day, which I believe is February 16th.
Okay.
Did you talk to John Wagner?
Yes. He thinks this is great. He says it's time for them to all come in. He still stands by, there's been no transmissions at the schools. And he's at the point now where he's saying, whatever you need to do to be able to get those kids back in, we're ready to get them back in. So I'd say Mr. Wagner was pleased to hear of our plans.
So by going all in, 6 to 12 for half days, we are not going to have social distancing,
Correct.
and that's not an issue.
As we're gonna have to quarantine people, and you're gonna see people getting quarantined. There are, I mean, people are going to, continue to contract this virus. Right now, the expectation is that you quarantine the close contacts. It's frustrating because the kids that are being quarantined, they're not seeing them get sick. So why are we quarantining them? Because we're told we have to. So you will have people still going to remote through this process, but I believe that the step we're at right now, all in, is the right choice.
Did you do the survey? How many are going to be remote for the next quarter?
We did not do the
You did
survey.
not do the survey?
No.
How many high school kids are remote right now?
They are our school with the largest amount, but it's really hard to say how many are going to be coming back with the all-in.
I'd have to say freshmen and sophomores are going to be returning, juniors and seniors, maybe not so much.
I'd say my biggest concern for any group right now is our senior class, and making sure that they are all going to be ready to graduate and able to graduate. I think that the phone calls and stuff that I've heard, when we've got kids at the top of the class, they're still at the top of the class, and there's not a big concern for them. I'm still worried about the ones at the middle to the bottom, and I'm afraid a lot of those are our remote kids. And I certainly would hope that the parents are emphasizing to the kids that going to school is their job, and that they have to be there, whether it's online or in person or whatever. I do have concerns about having that many remote, but and having them all back in. I still am a kind of like the hybrid all day, because that would, if we're not concerned about the social distancing, I don't see the issues with the lunch as much.
Yeah, that was discussed, and I don't want to say consensus, but I think that what was communicated to me through a lot of the various parents is that they want their children to attend school every day, and the hybrid is causing a lot of them to struggle. And so there's pros and cons to going either way. I mean, it makes sense to go either way. That's what's so vexing about this problem.
I'll just say, I haven't had a phone call that says I want my kids all in. The phone calls I've had are go hybrid. They like the hybrid. They like having half the kids there at a time, because then they've only got half as many that would be in contact, and they could have the social distancing. I just would have a question. If we're going all in, what are we doing to take care of our teachers and our staff? I mean, we've talked about teachers behind shower curtains, and I've heard instances of more than one plexiglass.
Yeah.
What are we doing to protect our staff?
I would just want to speak, we learned a little bit with a recent employee who has been out for a quarantine and had some numerous, more than one plexiglass barrier, and the health department said that would not be suffice unless it was a box. So I don't think that is, in terms of removing from the isolation, right? So I don't think that adding more is really going to solve the issue. They would have to be isolated. Of course, maybe it's reducing the likelihood of some kind percentage-wise of them contracting it. So yes, but then the socially, emotional part, obviously, for our teachers is something that we look at every year, but definitely this year. And we actually today had a brainstorming session of trying to put some meaningful things into place to try to provide some opportunities should somebody wish to partake. So hopefully we'll get those rolled out as well.
The other thing is, you know, we've had the benefit of being able to look at other districts, and there's districts ahead of us and there's districts still behind us. We're kind of in the middle and moving forward. But the health department has made it quite clear, they're not, the transmission from student to teacher is really not occurring in the schools because the teachers are staying the 6 feet away. And that's the key thing is that, you know, you need to wear your masks and you need to stay at least 6 feet away from the group for the teachers to be not quarantined. But as far as the quarantining, that's different than actually getting sick. And they're not seeing the transmissions in schools is what I would.
And I find it very sad that 72% of our high school teachers do not want to come back or want the kids all back in. When we have the younger grades, those teachers are close to the kids, side by side, doing activities, helping them with stuff. And I find that very sad for our district that 72% of our high school teachers don't want the kids back in all the time.
Yeah, and I think that both of the teachers, though, said it. They want them back in. They just want them back in safely. And so it is frustrating that we are all so divided. And you see it in the COVID, you see it in the politics, you see it just in the world in general. And it's frustrating because there is division. I wish I knew how to unify people, but you know, when it comes to COVID, there are a lot of people that have feelings about it, and I can't do anything about that. I wish I could.
On the health department website, today I was reading that, so starting Monday, the vaccinations, they're gonna be moving to phase 1B, starting on Monday, which is like residents that are 65 and over, plus frontline essential workers, which would be our teachers.
Yeah, when I talked to Mr. Wagner this week, he's doing the 80-year-olds now. He's dropping down to 75. Once he gets through those, he'll open it up for the teachers. And
Well, we're ahead of schedule according to the website today.
yeah, he believes that if the vaccines keep coming in the rate that they are, we're expected to get the vaccines the first week of February. And we've been talking about whether or not we'll take a snow day and let everybody go and get them done, or if we can get it scheduled for the afternoon so that, you know, when 12:30 hits, they can go to the fairgrounds and get them vaccinated. We want everybody vaccinated, and I'm excited to see that the vaccines, I don't want to say that it's going to be the first week of February because I don't want to jinx it. But right now, according to Mr. Wagner, if the vaccines keep coming in the way that they are, the teachers are next. So.
Is there an option for an on-site vaccination since you do have healthcare workers in the buildings?
Yeah, no.
Not yet.
We would have to go to him. And I guess they used to come out and do the flu shots. I'm not quite sure what the procedure is different than this versus the others, but
Well, yeah, it's probably the tracking.
yeah.
Or the temperature.
Oh,
So
sure.
say,
And the
yeah,
handling of the vaccines.
Storage.
Well, you know, I've spent a lot of time listening to both sides of this argument, and I've tried my best to keep an open mind. Seems to me the primary concern of not returning is the inability to social distance. But in my experience, that the kids aren't social distancing outside of school. They're choosing to get together. They're obviously not wearing masks. I think even if they didn't social distance and wear masks, I think they'd be safer in school than they are out in the general public. And I think it's important to keep in mind, we're not requiring anybody to come back to school. If somebody is scared, if they have somebody at home that they don't want to get exposure to, they'll have the option of remote learning. So we're not forcing anybody, we're providing a choice, is all we're doing. We're not forcing anybody to do anything.
Well, you mean the students?
Students, correct.
Right.
Any other comments or questions on the plan?
And just one more thing to add in terms of the all kids back in. The parents that have been calling me have really expressed the need to get their kids in, just to get them moving in the morning, not walk down, you know, with a blanket wrapped around them on their remote day, but to actually get up, get ready, get dressed, be productive. And I guess it's basically their emotional well-being as well.
You know, and I forgot, during our committee meeting, I brought this up, and there is a study that I brought up, I think, a meeting or two ago, and it's about productivity on people. And basically, it says that when you get up, just think of all of us, on the weekends, we get lazy. If you don't get up and get moving, you tend to coast a little bit longer. When it's a work day, you get up, you take a shower, you get ready, and you're working. That's human nature, and kids are the same way. I think if we need to get them up, get them engaged, and then they can carry that over into the afternoon instead of vice versa.
Is the afternoon remote learning, or are they just going half days?
No, they will have office hours, and they will be doing remote learning, and they will be doing some prep, so. But the
But
office hours.
the kids will not have instruction time specifically laid out in the afternoon.
There will be office hours. If the kids need help, they can get it remotely through those office hours.
And the teachers also need planning time, and, you know, they are getting a double burden with the remote learning, so they do need some prep time to handle both jobs.
Any other questions or comments on the plan? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to have the students on February 16th return to school every day with K through 5th grade attending Monday through Thursday 8 to 3 and Friday 8 to 12:30, and 6th through 12th grade attending Monday through Friday 8 to 12:30.
I make the motion.
A motion by Lisa Schumacher,
I'll second.
second by Tammy Hines. Can you do a roll call, please?
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Scott Middlecamp,
Yes.
Greg O'Connor,
Hi.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Karen Anderson, I'll go yes. Tammy Hines?
Yes.
John Long?
Yes.
Great, motion carries. On to the next item on the agenda, discussion items. I don't have anything to do. Okay. Board President's prerogative. I just want to say that this is another step forward. I think we've been trying to make incremental steps forward in getting the students back in class. And I think we've been doing it cautiously and really looking at ways, our best ways to do that. We don't want to get to a point that we have to go backwards, but I think this is a good next step, and not to jinx anything, but looking forward to fourth quarter, right? And we get it all in.
I did see on the news tonight that if the vaccinations continue to roll out as they have nationwide, that by August, we could be back to semi-normal. And so hopefully by fall, we should be ready to roll into school. If all goes as planned.
On to item 10, executive session. We don't have anything
We will
necessary.
have one next month.
But we will have one next month, yep. On to the last item on the agenda, adjournment. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by John Long, second by?
Second.
Second by Greg O'Connor. Could you do a roll call vote for me, please?
Scott Middlecamp,
Yes.
Greg O'Connor,
All right.
do you want to go home? Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Karen Anderson, yes. Tammy Hines,
Yes.
John Long,
Yes.
Greg Meyer.
Yes.
And we are done at what time?
Motion carries. We are adjourned, and it is 7:38. Great. Thank you, Taylor.